What if the last thing you ate today could decide how well you sleep tonight and how strong you feel tomorrow? Most people over 50 never think about this, and that's exactly the problem. Before we go further, if you want more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button right now, tap the like icon so more people like you can find this video, and send it to someone who struggles to sleep. It costs nothing, and it helps this channel grow so we can keep making videos that actually help. Let's start with something simple. Your body doesn't stop working when you close your eyes. While you sleep, it keeps repairing tissue, balancing hormones, and managing your blood sugar. All of this happens without any food coming in for 8 to 10 hours. That's the longest stretch you go without eating in your entire day. And once you understand that, you start to see why the very last thing you eat before bed is not a small detail. It's actually one of the most important choices you make all day. After 50, this becomes even more true. Your body changes in ways that are easy to miss. Muscle starts to break down a little faster than it used to. Hormones shift. Sleep gets lighter and more easily interrupted. And the evening meal, the one most people treat as an afterthought, starts to play a much bigger role in how you feel. Here's a question worth asking yourself. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and struggle to fall back asleep? Do you sometimes go to bed a little hungry, telling yourself it's fine, only to wake up starving at 2 in the morning? Do you get a full 8 hours of sleep and still wake up tired, like your body never really rested? If any of that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and there's a reason it's happening. Most people believe eating before bed is always a bad idea. That's only half true. Eating the wrong thing before bed is a bad idea. Eating nothing at all can be just as much of a problem. The real answer sits in the middle, and it comes down to one small, specific habit that almost nobody talks about. 1 spoonful of peanut butter eaten the right way, at the right time, before you lie down for the night. That single sentence probably raised a few questions in your mind. Isn't peanut butter unhealthy? Doesn't eating before bed cause weight gain? Won't this just sit heavy in your stomach? Stay with me, because the answers might surprise you, and they explain why this small habit is getting attention. It is getting attention from people paying closer attention to their health after 50. Think about your daily routine for a second. Breakfast gets planned, lunch gets planned, dinner usually gets thought, but the small window between dinner and sleep, the last hour before your head hits the pillow, gets ignored. Most people either eat nothing in that window or they eat whatever is easiest. A handful of chips, a cookie, a bowl of cereal out of habit rather than hunger. Nobody sits down and asks what their body actually needs during the longest fast of the entire day. That gap in attention is exactly where this habit fits in. It also helps to understand what changes inside your body once you pass 50. These changes are the real reason this evening window starts to matter so much more than it used to. Your metabolism slows down gradually. Your body becomes slightly less efficient at using the protein you eat, which means you often need a bit more of it, spread more evenly through the day. This helps to maintain the muscle you already have. Hormone levels shift too. This affects everything from how easily you fall asleep to how your body handles stress. None of this happens overnight, and none of it is something to panic about. It's simply the reality of an aging body, and it's exactly why paying closer attention to small details starts to pay off. Paying attention to what you eat right before bed starts to pay off more than it did in your 20s. Let's talk about why nighttime matters so much for your body. Many people picture sleep as a pause button, like your body simply shuts off until morning. That's not what happens. While you're unconscious, your body is doing some of its most important work. It's repairing muscle fibers that were used during the day and regulating hormones that control hunger. And it's keeping your blood sugar steady, even though you're not eating anything. This last part is where most people run into trouble. If you go to bed with your blood sugar dropping and nothing to slow the fall, your body can wake you up. That sudden jolt awake at 2 or 3 in the morning isn't always about stress. Sometimes it's simply your body asking for fuel it doesn't have. At the same time, muscle repair after 50 needs support to hold onto strength. Nighttime is one of the biggest repair windows you get. If you go to bed with nothing useful, your body has very little raw material to work with to rebuild. Imagine a construction crew showing up to work every night, but the truck carrying their materials never arrives. That's essentially what happens when you go to bed with nothing in your system after a long, active day. The repair process starts, but it runs short on the raw materials it needs to finish the job properly. Over months and years, that small nightly shortfall can add up in ways you don't notice right away. But it shows up later as slower recovery, more fatigue, or muscle that feels a little weaker than it used to. This is also connected to something many people over 50 deal with without ever naming it. That heavy, sluggish feeling in the morning, even after what felt like a full night's sleep. It's easy to blame that on age itself, as if tiredness is just something you're supposed to accept now. But often, part of that tiredness traces back to what happened in the hours before you fell asleep. A body that spends the night working with too little material wakes up feeling like it never fully recovered. This is where peanut butter enters the picture, and it's worth understanding exactly why it works. Peanut butter contains a combination of protein, healthy fats, and magnesium. Protein gives your body the building blocks it needs for repair. Healthy fats slow down digestion, which means your body gets a slow, steady release of energy. And magnesium plays a role in relaxation and steady sleep, a mineral that a large number of adults lack. Magnesium in particular deserves a moment of attention because it quietly affects far more than people realize. It plays a role in muscle relaxation, in nerve function, and in the body's ability to settle into a calmer state. Many adults, especially as they get older, fall short of the amount their body actually needs. A small source of magnesium in the evening isn't a cure for restlessness, but it's one more piece of support. It helps prepare a body that's ready to relax, instead of one still running on alert. Compare that to what most people actually reach for at night, like white bread or sweet snack bars. These foods are mostly fast-digesting carbohydrates, and they behave very differently in your body. They cause a quick rise in blood sugar, followed by an equally quick drop. And it's often that drop that pulls people out of deep sleep without them ever understanding why. Peanut butter, because of its protein and fat content, digests more slowly. Instead of a spike and a crash, your body gets a gentler, more even supply of energy through the night. That steadiness is connected with stable blood sugar levels overnight and fewer awakenings. In simple terms, calmer blood sugar tends to mean calmer sleep. Quick pause. If this is the first time you're hearing this, imagine how many people have never come across it. That's why this channel exists, to put simple, useful information in front of people who deserve better. If you're finding this helpful, tap that like button now to help this video reach more people. And if you know someone who's been struggling to sleep, send it to them right after this video ends. It might be exactly what they needed today. But here's where most people go wrong. It has nothing to do with peanut butter being bad. It has to do with how they use it. Before we go any further, there's something you need to check before you even open a jar. Not every jar on the shelf is the same, and this one detail changes everything. Walk down almost any grocery aisle and you'll see dozens of peanut butter brands promising to be natural. Most people grab whatever looks familiar and never flip the jar over. That's the mistake. The label on the front is marketing. The label on the back is the truth. Here's the rule to remember. If the ingredient list is short, like just peanuts and salt, that's a good choice. If sugar, syrup, or palm oil appear near the top of the list, put that jar back on the shelf. A peanut butter loaded with added sugar isn't giving your body the slow, steady fuel we talked about. It's giving you a dessert disguised as a health food, and that defeats the entire purpose. Ingredients are always listed by weight, from most to least. So whatever appears first on that list makes up the biggest part of what's inside the jar. If sugar is sitting near the top, you're not really eating peanut butter anymore. You're eating a sweet spread that happens to contain some peanuts. That's a completely different food, and it behaves completely differently in your body overnight. It won't give you the same slow, steady release of energy. It will behave like white bread. This causes that same rise and fall in blood sugar that can pull you out of deep sleep. This one habit, turning the jar around before you buy it, takes 10 seconds and is very useful. Once you have the right jar, the next question is how much to actually eat and when. The amount is 1 teaspoon, not a heaping spoonful straight from the jar, not 2 or 3 spoonfuls because you think more must work better. Just 1 teaspoon, that's somewhere around 5 to 6 grams. That small amount is exactly the point. It's enough to give your body something steady without asking your system to handle a full meal. Timing matters too. The best window is 30 to 40 minutes before you actually lie down. That gives your body a little time to start digesting before you're horizontal. Eat it too late, and your body is still busy working on digestion exactly when it should be winding down. You can eat that teaspoon on its own, or pair it with something simple. What you shouldn't pair it with is caffeine or anything heavily sweetened. A spoonful of peanut butter alongside a couple of cookies isn't the same habit anymore. Wash it down with a little water instead. Nothing more complicated than that. Now let's talk about the mistakes that quietly cancel out every benefit we just described. The first mistake is portion size. Several spoonfuls turns a light habit into a heavy meal. Your digestive system wasn't built to process a large amount of food right before you lie down. The second mistake is choosing the wrong peanut butter with sugar or syrup in the first 3 ingredients. You're eating something closer to dessert, just packaged to look healthier than it is. The third mistake is combining peanut butter with the wrong things, like a jelly sandwich at 11 at night. These combinations load your body with sugar right when it should be settling down. There's also a bigger myth that eating anything before bed automatically turns into extra fat. Weight is shaped far more by your overall pattern of eating across the entire day and week. A single teaspoon of peanut butter is nowhere close to a late night pizza or a bowl of ice cream. If this small habit fits naturally into your routine, it's a reasonable part of the evening. Don't make the mistake of thinking more is better. Your system doesn't need a heavy workload at night. Piling on extra spoonfuls doesn't multiply the benefit, it just adds unnecessary work. What matters far more than quantity is consistency. a small, moderate amount repeated night after night. Remember that no single food works in isolation. Think of it as one piece of a larger picture. Pair it with a fairly consistent bedtime, a calm environment, and a balanced way of eating. Drop a comment below telling me how old you are and whether you already eat anything before bed. Let's talk about how to make this enjoyable. The first way is banana and cinnamon. Slice a small banana, spread the peanut butter, and sprinkle a pinch of cinnamon on top. The second is peanut butter with Greek yogurt and a few chopped walnuts. This version is softer and feels more like a real snack without turning into a full meal. The third works on cooler nights. Add a teaspoon of peanut butter to a small bowl of warm oatmeal. Sprinkle a few pumpkin seeds over the top for a bit of extra texture and healthy minerals. The whole point is keeping it simple. Simple things actually get repeated. A habit that takes 2 minutes will survive a busy week. Complicated routines quietly disappear. What happens if you stick with this for 30 days? In the first week, you're building the habit. In the second week, pay attention to your hunger at night. In the third, check your comfort level. By the fourth week, you can honestly decide whether this habit is genuinely working for you. This habit isn't right for everyone. If you have an allergy, this obviously isn't for you. If you have chronic kidney disease or diabetes, talk to your doctor before adding anything new. Everyone's body is different, and your doctor understands your specific situation far better than a video. Treat this as a starting point for a conversation with someone who knows your history. Before we wrap up, try 10 slow heel raises and 5 slow, deep breaths before you lie down. This small sequence helps your body shift out of the busyness of the day and into a calmer state. Tonight, you have a choice. You can go to bed the same way or try something small. A simple, low-risk habit is worth trying and judging for yourself over the next 30 days. If you have a healthy habit of your own, share it in the comments below to help others. Thank you for staying with me. Take care of yourself tonight, and I'll see you in the next one.